Boeing, a titan of American industry and a symbol of innovation and engineering prowess, announced a stunning halt to its production lines, a move that few could have predicted just months ago. The announcement sent immediate shockwaves through financial markets, with investors scrambling to assess the fallout, and Boeing's stock plummeting in response to the uncertainty. This decision ripples far beyond the company's headquarters, impacting thousands of workers, talented engineers in Everett who have dedicated their careers to building the world's most advanced aircraft, and assembly line staff in South Carolina, now facing profound uncertainty about their jobs, their families, and their futures. The halt is the result of a perfect storm of economic and political pressures, including a bitter and protracted strike at a key defense plant that has paralyzed critical operations and negotiations. On top of that, Boeing suffered a devastating blow from China, a market that has long been essential to its global ambitions. In a dramatic escalation of the US-China trade war, China halted all new orders and imports of Boeing aircraft, effectively shutting the door on billions of dollars in future business and leaving dozens of jets grounded and unsold. The images from factory floors are stark and haunting. Vast, silent hangars where the hum of activity has been replaced by an eerie quiet, and where jets that once symbolized progress now sit unfinished and abandoned. This stoppage is more than a temporary pause. It's a symbol of a brewing crisis that touches every corner of the global economy, from international trade and labor relations to the very heart of US national security. The decision has created a logistical nightmare for Boeing, which now must manage a massive and growing inventory of partially built aircraft, grounded jets, and unused airplane parts piling up in warehouses. The ripple effects extend to a complex network of suppliers and logistics partners, many of whom depend on Boeing's steady business to survive, putting even more jobs and livelihoods at risk. The financial costs are astronomical, with expenses mounting by the day as revenue streams dry up, invoices go unpaid, and analysts warn of long-term damage to Boeing's reputation and balance sheet. Boeing is now navigating a hurricane of challenges that threatens its very foundation, forcing it to take unthinkable actions for such a cornerstone of American manufacturing. Actions that will shape the future of the company, its workers, and the entire aerospace industry for years to come. The White House reacted swiftly and furiously. President Trump took to social media, blasting Boeing's management and external forces for the crisis. He framed the halt as a direct attack on American jobs and vowed to intervene, promising to protect the American worker. Trump targeted the trade war with China as the root cause, accusing Beijing of unfair practices. His combative rhetoric raised stakes, transforming Boeing's crisis into an international showdown. Beyond China, Trump criticized striking workers, suggesting their dispute undermined national security. His intervention put him at odds with labor unions, but aligned with military production goals. The president's engagement ensured the Boeing crisis dominated headlines, heavily influenced by his administration's priorities. Boeing's crisis is a direct consequence of the US-China trade war, a conflict that has sent shockwaves through the global economy and upended decades of business as usual. The conflict began when the United States imposed sweeping tariffs on a wide range of Chinese goods, aiming to pressure China into changing its trade practices and address long-standing concerns over intellectual property and market access. In response, China retaliated with its own set of tariffs, targeting key American industries. Boeing, as one of the largest US exporters and a symbol of American manufacturing, quickly found itself caught in the crossfire. For years, Boeing had counted on China as its single largest overseas customer, shaping its production lines and future growth strategies around the massive demand from Chinese airlines. But when China slapped a staggering 125% tariff on US aircraft and froze new orders, it struck at the very heart of Boeing's business model, threatening its long-term prospects in the world's fastest-growing aviation market. Chinese airlines, which had been some of Boeing's most loyal and lucrative customers, suddenly found themselves unable to afford new American planes, forcing them to halt or delay ambitious fleet expansion plans. The tariffs made American aircraft prohibitively expensive overnight, creating a crisis not just for Boeing, but also for Chinese airlines struggling to modernize their fleets and keep up with surging passenger demand. This sudden disruption severed a critical link in the global aviation supply chain, affecting not only plane deliveries, but also the flow of parts, maintenance, and technical expertise across borders. The impact of the trade war goes far beyond lost sales. It has created a climate of extreme uncertainty for global companies like Boeing, with ripple effects felt by suppliers, workers, and investors around the world. Investment decisions are put on hold, supply chains are being reevaluated from top to bottom, and every transaction is now shadowed by the threat of new political shocks or regulatory hurdles. The conflict has transformed what was once a relatively open global marketplace into a tense geopolitical battlefield, where every deal is scrutinized for its strategic implications. Boeing, once a symbol of international cooperation and technological progress, now finds itself on the front lines of a struggle for economic and political dominance between two superpowers, its future hanging in the balance. Boeing's crisis highlights its strategic importance to the U.S. The company is not just another manufacturer. It stands as a pillar of American industry, innovation, and global influence. When Boeing faces trouble, the ripple effects are felt far beyond its own walls. As the nation's largest exporter, Boeing's sales abroad are crucial to the U.S. trade balance. Every aircraft sold overseas brings billions of dollars back into the American economy, supporting not just Boeing, but countless other businesses that rely on its success. Its operations support hundreds of thousands of jobs across a vast network of suppliers. From small machine shops to major tech firms, Boeing's reach extends into nearly every state, fueling local economies and providing stable employment for families nationwide. Boeing's well-being is linked to national prosperity, making its problems Washington's problems. Lawmakers and government officials closely monitor the company's fortunes, knowing that its health is intertwined with the broader economic outlook. The company's importance transcends the commercial sector, being a cornerstone of the U.S. defense industrial base. Boeing is responsible for developing and producing some of the most advanced military aircraft and systems in the world. It manufactures critical military hardware, with any threat to its stability impacting national security. The Pentagon relies on Boeing for everything from fighter jets to missile defense, making the company's reliability a matter of national defense. The strike at its defense plant was seen as a serious issue by the Pentagon, prompting federal intervention. Disruptions in Boeing's defense operations can delay vital projects and weaken military readiness, underscoring the company's unique role. Boeing's strategic partnership with the U.S. government has been cultivated over decades. This relationship is built on trust, shared goals, and a long history of collaboration on both commercial and defense projects. The company is a recipient of massive government contracts and benefits from federal support in international sales. These contracts not only fund innovation, but also help maintain America's competitive edge in aerospace technology. When China targets Boeing, it challenges a symbol of American technological supremacy and national security. The stakes are high, as Boeing's fortunes are closely tied to America's standing on the world stage, making its success a matter of national interest. Boeing's rivals, especially Airbus, are poised to benefit from its misfortune. With Boeing locked out of China, Airbus could gain a significant advantage. However, Airbus faces its own production constraints and cannot immediately absorb all demand. A more significant threat may come from China's COMAC, developing its own jets. The trade dispute could accelerate COMAC's development, reducing reliance on foreign manufacturers. This strategic shift could reshape the global aviation landscape, creating a competitor Boeing and Airbus fear. Boeing is redirecting aircraft originally for China to other markets, like India. Indian carriers with ambitious expansion plans could absorb many rejected aircraft. This strategy is essential for managing inventory and maintaining cash flow. Boeing's sales teams are renegotiating deals, turning crisis into opportunity. Analysts speculate China's ban on Boeing parts may not be sustainable long-term. Boeing's future depends on U.S.-China trade negotiations, hoping for a resolution. Boeing's crisis is a symptom of broader global tensions. The U.S. is preparing for potential conflicts with major powers, impacting companies like Boeing. The U.S.-China trade war is a struggle for technological supremacy and global influence. By targeting Boeing, China strikes at a symbol of American industrial might. This transforms corporations into pawns on a geopolitical chessboard. The tense climate has domestic implications, with governments leveraging threats to consolidate power. The pressure to end Boeing's strike reflects this, prioritizing national security over labor disputes. The environment is unstable for global businesses, with nationalism and protectionism rewriting commerce rules. Boeing's production halt sends shockwaves across the global economy. Its vast network of suppliers faces financial instability with canceled orders. Communities dependent on Boeing jobs will suffer severe economic impacts. The disruption affects the entire aviation industry, with airlines facing delays. Reduced capacity can lead to higher ticket prices and fewer flight options. The crisis shakes financial markets, with Boeing's struggles affecting investor sentiment. It highlights the fragility of global supply chains and risks of geopolitical conflicts. Boeing's future is shrouded in uncertainty, fighting battles on multiple fronts. Resolving the labor strike at its defense plant is crucial. The Chinese ban's financial impact is catastrophic, with Boeing's fate tied to U.S.-China trade war outcomes. A diplomatic resolution could allow Boeing to reclaim its market position. A deepening conflict could force painful restructuring, ceding ground to rivals. Boeing must also address internal challenges, rebuilding trust with regulators and the public. The coming months are crucial, with decisions shaping the future of American manufacturing and global aviation. The world watches to see if Boeing can recover or if the turbulence will prove too much.